Sean, will you say welcome to Spencer's, a podcast where we whatever you want?
Oh, that's a lot.
Right now, there's no pressure because it's not going to appear on the podcast.
What up, fam? Welcome to Spencer's, the podcast where we compare each other to stereotypical celebrities.
That's good.
Welcome to Spencer's, the podcast where we talk about how Sean is in love with his bidet.
Can you do it in your Creed voice, please?
Welcome to Spencer's, the pod where we sing.
That's good.
Thanks.
Oh, that's good.
That's the winner. Today, it is just the girlies. I'm Haley. This is Jordan, and we are joined by our best friend, Sean Yoo. If you want to hear a episode that we just dropped that was one of my favorites, it was reported by Alex Wong about NBA jerseys from the 90s, and it has all kinds of juicy stories in there. That's called, what was it called, Harry?
Who killed the eccentric jersey?
Yes.
That was a really good line delivery. So should you just keep that in?
That's fine with me.
I mean, you made it sound...
Got the chills from that.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Who did kill it? Anyway, today we are going to... Oh, also subscribe to our YouTube,
Yes.
please. So Jordan and I can buy expensive, ethically made faux leather outfits, just head to toe.
Yes.
And today we're going to do a rookie check-in, part 1. At the end of this episode, because it went so long and I have a dentist appointment, we decided we will also be doing a part 2. Today, well, obviously that's Jordan. I'm Haley. This is Sean Yoo.
It's an honor to be here.
Long
Welcome,
time
welcome.
Yeah, first
friend.
time, long time, honestly.
Long time Houston Rockets fan.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say that.
Do you want to explain that one real quick?
Yeah, I could do it quickly. I actually said it on the Flagrant Pod. I'm wearing the hat. I look like an ad for NBA Twitter right now.
Great.
Basically, I grew up in New Jersey and went to a lot of Nets games because we were right by the Meadowlands. That's where near where I grew up. And then the Nets left and they went to Newark, and I, as a middle schooler, was like devastated and was like, "Buy your life." And then was like, I need a new team. And at the time, Tracy McGrady was my favorite basketball player. And then he got traded to the Rockets, and I was like, wow, Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, the only Asian basketball player really in the league, and then like Steve Francis and Katina Mobley, all those guys. And so I was just like, yeah, I'll just be a Rockets fan, without understanding like the weight of the consequences of picking a franchise and what that means for the future of your life. So I was like, oh, I'm a Rockets fan. And we had some really great years, and then followed by some really bad ones. But somehow I quietly stuck around. And then they got James Harden, and I was like, oh, what the real deal.
What was the worst year?
Yeah.
There was a stretch where after it was like a 3 to 4 year period where after Yao got hurt and left, Tracy McGrady kind of left, and like they had like a really underrated Kyle Lowry and like just some like pieces, like just random pieces thrown together. But they were like always like a 10 or 11 seed. And it's that classic like GM thing, like mediocrity doesn't get you anywhere in any sport. So you're either at the top or the bottom. And they just weren't doing anything. And it was before Daryl got there. And so there was like a lot of dark years where I was like, people were like, aren't you still a Rockets fan? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think
just like
mediocrity does get you somewhere in some sports, but NBA is not one of them. If
Yes.
you are a football team who is super mediocre and then hits their stride like with 2 weeks left, you can get in the wild card, get in the playoffs. I'm saying this as a Ravens fan. Like you can do it.
Plus the NFL, the draft, I think is you can get value anywhere kind of. Whereas the NBA is like outside the lottery, it's like you really have to know your shit to like get value.
You have to have like people in European villages just constantly feeding you information. Like this guy's over 6'9" now and he's 14. And he's he passes super well.
He just passed geometry. We should look into this kid.
Well, speaking of the Rockets, today we want to do a rookie check-in.
Yes.
So, we all brought 2 or 3 rookies to talk about. So, who wants to go first? This is not a draft. This is not in order. Unless you think Sean is doing something that offends you, in which case it is.
Oh,
his Twitter is at, what's your Twitter?
Just my name.
At Sean Yoo.
Yeah.
I think our
Jordan
guest should go first.
Yeah, Jordan should go. She has the best player.
Well, okay. Well, we usually have our guests go first, but I'll go. So, I am obsessed with Evan Mobley on the Cavs. He is everything to me. I love watching him play. He's in the front runner for Rookie of the Year. And I think what I love most about him, let me count the ways. One is that I think he's like the poster child for a modern center. He can shoot off the dribble. He can space. He can shoot the 3, not well, but enough to go out there and guard it. And then he's pretty much automatic inside. And I think he's just all around. But the defense is where is really his bread and butter. And I think is what really separates him from the rest of the rookies. And even on a team with Jared Allen, he's leading the team in blocks. Like, it still amazes me so much. And I think when you look at the Cavs, they've had lottery picks for like the past umpteenth years. But you had Sexton, you had Darius Garland, you had Okoro, and they were still trying to figure out their identity, what was going to happen, what are we trying to play, what are we trying to do. And Evan Mobley is like that perfect piece that makes them watchable again, but also very fun. And with some trades, you have Ricky Rubio, you have yeah, not RIP, but when he gets better, when he gets healthier, I think that's going to be a complete team, and they're going to keep making noise in the East. But Mobley is that center of that great team. So I'm just obsessed with him. I love him.
It feels like he's one of the guys who went to the right place from that draft. I actually think that feels like it's not all that uncommon in this draft. I'm not sure if I usually feel this strongly about it, but it was occurring to me like over the last week. It feels like Jaylen Green went to the right place. Evan Mobley. For me, Scottie Barnes. But, I don't know how Raptors fans would feel about that. The thing about him going to the Cavs, though, is like you said, you've paired him in a place on defense where not only is he personally probably would excel anywhere, but they're literally running zones with 3 7-footers.
Yes.
I genuinely think if he went to a different team, his defense wouldn't be this polished this soon. I think that was like the big thing everyone was talking about. Is like, yeah, he has all the tools, but like, can he play modern defense at his size? And he was doing it within like the first 2 weeks. I remember all the like NBA nerds were like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize his defense was gonna be this good this soon."
Yeah,
but you're right, Jordy. Like, he does everything. It's crazy.
He does. And also, like, that helps with Jared Allen, too, because Jared Allen is a flexible, person to kind of bounce off in that way, too. So at least he's paired with another huge guy who has that ability. Did you guys hear last night, what was that call with Evan Mobley? Like, big fella means business. I was just walking around saying that.
Okay.
I like that.
Big fella means business.
I do like that.
I know.
Do you think big men get sick and tired of being called big fella? Like, does that like hurt them, you think? Like, hey, stop like describing my size constantly?
Yes. My fiance says that all the time. If you guys haven't seen my fiance, he's a big guy, and he said he just started his league last night, and they don't know his name yet, so all they say is, "Hey, big, come set the screen." Hey, big, and he's like, "Just learn my name. It's so easy. It's Fred."
I'm not big.
He's tired of it.
They're like, "Hey, big Fred." Oh, poor Fred. I feel bad about that.
Yeah. Shout out to big men.
Yeah, shout out to big men. The last thing I'll say about this one, Big Mobley, is that I also love that he's like taking some off the backcourt who were already having a steady climb. But this is actually how you build a team. Like they had the pieces. It was really rough. It was rocky. People thought that backcourt could never survive. And then look what happens when you give players a couple, seconds to develop. Obviously not everyone is back at the moment, but it just feels like they're on the trajectory that you're supposed to be on. It just doesn't always look as instantaneous as we think. But he does seem like the prime piece of a team that already had two people who could be prime pieces.
Every guard has thrived playing with him. Like every single guard that the Cavs have rolled out has thrived. And it's just like, is it him or is it them or is it everything in between,
I think it's him.
Right.
Being his number one fan. But I think also his maturity too. Just how he carries himself. I think he doesn't feel like a rookie. Like he was in high school like 3 years ago, like a lot of these players we're going to talk about, but that still amazes me that he is kind of the foundation of this team and he doesn't really carry himself. He's not really going through the rookie slump or just making rookie mistakes. I love his basketball IQ and his maturity too.
Sean, I think he's a Gemini.
Evan Mobley?
Ooh. Yeah, I looked it up in the draft. I thought that was notable.
Is it a Gemini thing to like be half on half, but like sometimes you really don't like other Gemini or sometimes you do? Is that a thing?
Yes, okay. You either love or hate them.
Facts.
That makes sense.
Yeah, June 18th, Gemini.
Whoa, day before my birthday.
Yep.
Sick.
Okay.
Now I'm a fan for life.
Fan for life.
That's all you need to say.
That's a great pick, Jordan. I think we all wanted that pick, but
yes,
that's a good one. He is also probably most easiest to cheer for on this list, but that's hard. There's a couple guys who are really lovable, and then there's some guys I'm not sure how I feel about. Just in terms of lovability.
Sure. I'm
Doesn't say anything about you as a basketball player.
Right.
Sean,
you as a person.
I just don't like you as a person. But nothing to say about your game.
Should I go now?
You go next.
Go.
So we were just talking about the Rockets, and I, obviously want to discuss Jaylen Green, who, I think the talk of the town heading into the draft, given how loud and vocal and kind of spicy he was. The tide is somewhat turning on Jaylen Green within the Rockets community. A lot of Rockets bloggers and writers, after the last few days or games, have been like, he needs to step it up, or is he even that good? Questions like that are being asked, and I tend to agree the more I watch him, because as of now, maybe he's in a slump, and I think a lot of the issue is Steven Silas does not know what to do with his rotations. And doesn't want to fully commit to the youth movement. Something about it is confounding, where he has all this athleticism in the world, he has all the tools in the world, he's got a really competitive edge and wants to be the guy every single time, but something's not clicking. He all he's doing is like scoring like 12 to 14 points a game on like 3 of 11 shooting, and has like 4 boards and 3 assists just on pure athleticism.
Highly specific.
Yeah, and I'm just like, is the efficiency, obviously it's still early and he's a rookie, everyone's going to go through ups and downs. But is he good or is he just athletic? I think that's a big basketball thing of like, is he good or is he athletic? And I wonder if Jaylen Green fits in that category, because he's arguably the most exciting rookie in terms of highlight based and flash, and every night you might see something crazy, but does that translate? Sometimes I don't know, and sometimes I wonder what kind of dark magic I could have done for the Rockets to get the first pick, because Cade is clearly that guy, and I think that argument is like solidified over the first couple months of the season. But yeah, I don't know. I was like, I couldn't be higher on Jaylen Green to start the season, and now I'm at like a midpoint of like, oh, maybe you're talking too much and not really focusing on your game.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. If he didn't talk so much after the draft, before the season, would this still be kind of the storyline? Because I feel like he kind of set himself up for this a little bit.
Totally. You don't come in that hot as a rookie. Like, you don't It's just like, I don't know. You can't
I think you do. We've seen so many rookies do that.
But you really have to back it up, right?
They're
like
not. This is the whole thing, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you. This is the whole
please,
thing.
it's your show.
You're a fan, so you're seeing it through this lens of like, this guy has to be what we want him to be. First of all, like halfway through his first season, but second of all, they're not setting him up right. I thought what you were going to say is you're mad at the lack of touches that they give him. It's so strange to me. I'm like, you guys are the Houston Rockets. It's not like you're the Warriors,
to play
and
for.
it's a situation where you can literally, like, you have nothing to play for. What you need to do in this moment is not just put him in the corner as like a game-winning strategy.
Yeah.
You have to have the strategy for him to thrive. Like, how does a young guy play through all of these things, experiment, have this like green light that everybody wants? You're in the perfect position to give him a green light. You have no pressure on your back to win. In fact, it was weird when you guys were winning. We were all like, huh, that's weird. No one cared.
And he wasn't playing when they were winning, which is odd too.
Oh.
Here's the thing, like you're right, and I mentioned it earlier with the Silas rotations. Him and Kevin Porter Jr. cannot be on the same team together, and that's
they literally are like, oh, they'll work great together, and they're putting more into KPJ.
Yes.
Who
they're letting.
I'm not going to say it, but he's literally going to. He's a liability, I guess is the nicest way to say it.
He's volatile.
And Jaylen Green has so much more potential.
Right. Like,
but they're like, no, let's give more touches to KPJ. Yeah.
KPJ's the point guard on the team, and I'm like, I thought he was like a 2 guard, and why don't you let Jaylen Green like be the ball dominant guard? It just doesn't really make sense, and I almost think that they're just like, let's, my crackpot theory of like, let's just get these guys a lot of minutes who we're gonna trade really soon, so the value's higher. Like every time Kevin Porter Jr. has a game-winning shot, I'm like, okay, good, stock's going up. Like Eric Gordon went off a couple nights ago, and I was like, good, the stock's going up.
I forgot about Eric Gordon.
I love Eric Gordon, but so sometimes
he's been there since 8.
He's been on that team for like 17 years. Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta let the bird out the nest. You gotta let him fly.
It's time to go.
Time to go, man. But yeah, I mean, like, I still love Jaylen Green. The verdict's still, it's plenty of time left in the season, and he's shown a lot of flashes of being good. Just currently at the moment, you guys caught me at an odd time where the general consensus is like, oof.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jordan, I don't know what you think about this, but as far as like the, letting Porter Jr. run the point more and it not being like more of a dual thing, I am pleasantly surprised with Jaylen Green's ability to set up his teammates. Like when he does have the chance, it's good. Like he's doing it. He's aware of it. He wants to do it. He has a really interesting rhythm when he dribbles sometimes. It's almost like twitchy, which is interesting. And it's very different from when they do put him in the corner. He shoots the 3 and he's almost like a gazelle. I promised myself I wouldn't compare players to
animals,
but like, in the
animal
exactly documentaries where they're like they're like springing, like that's what his legs do.
Yes.
I'm just comparing his legs, not him.
But I think
that's not a problem.
I'm with Sean. I'm with Sean in it's always a question of, okay, is he just super athletic? Is he just there to excite everybody? Or is he actually going to space the floor, X's and O's, run a set that's needed for this team to win? I'm not sure. I think the jury's still out on that. And I think that's what you're saying, Sean, of very exciting to play. I feel like the Rockets were on TV every single night in the beginning of the season because everybody wanted to watch him play. Also, probably best hair out of this list. I think
without a doubt.
Hands down.
He's got that locked down.
Well,
hands down.
I'll bring up a counter later on. I have
a counter to those curls?
I have just a suggestion. I have just a humble
suggestion. He'll put
in
the braids. He'll do the half thing where it's like half curls, half braids.
He is hands down the best dressed. Like hands down best dressed.
I saw a tweet the other day that I just remembered that it was like some Rockets blog, and they were like, is Jaylen Green just going to be a more athletic Jordan Clarkson? And I was like, oh, God, like, what the hell? I was like, I don't know why. I was like, I pretend I do not see me. I was like, I don't want this visual in my head.
Oh, that's brutal. I was going to ask you what you think his ceiling is. Because what people said before the draft that they were hoping he could be like a Bradley Beal.
Right.
I remember one time seeing Devin Booker which is, that's
I don't
kind
see
of a
that.
tough comparison.
I
Yeah, I don't
think
see that.
those guys are like just so grounded with their fundamentals, and they have been in college and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like I think Jaylen Green is like the way he plays is like the best pickup player ever, right? Like
He could be Zach LaVine, I think.
that's a fair comp. I think
that's
he has
good.
time, and Zach took a lot of years to develop and to become the player he is now. So I'd love that for the Rockets, and I think Zach's a great player, but who knows? That's a really good comp actually.
Yeah, that is because I felt like Zach had to separate himself from I can do more than just dunk. Like
Yeah.
I can do more than this. I'm more than a dunk champion, and that's what Jaylen Green is going to have to show us. I can do more than just what my crazy athletic ability can do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
100%,
good.
which makes me wonder if the defense will come through. I can't tell because he is athletic. I can't tell like what exactly the problem is because he moves like slower left to right on defense than he ever would on offense. So I think it's just kind of a like lack of awareness thing. Like when he's on defense, he reminds me of you're walking into a house party and you're just like looking for your friends and you can't really find them. So you're like slowly like kind of moving
triggered.
around like an idiot
so
and like
triggering.
looking. Like he looks very
Pull up the
confused
phone.
sometimes.
I'm
Yeah,
just looking at the
exactly.
weather. I'm looking literally
Where
at the
are
weather
you?
app. I'm like, I don't know where. I don't know
pretending
anyone
to
is.
text. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's him on defense. It's just like sometimes he just looks like he has absolutely no idea, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You never notice. Do you genuinely have no idea? Is the adjustment just a tough adjustment? I mean, obviously it is. You're in the NBA now. Have you not committed to learning it? Or are you just not good on defense?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But that
A lot
does
of
seem
question
like a really,
marks.
a lot of question marks. I would love to know why so many shooting guards are just bad at defense.
Shooter mentality.
Like,
Shooter mentality. It's like I have to take this side of the court off so that my best side stays intact. Like I'm always like the guy running baseline, running around on offense crazy. And I play defense, but then when I get matched up with someone who's just like me, I'm like, God damn it. I have to do this like both sides of the court. So like I wonder if he's because Jaylen Green's never defending the best player. Like he never has that assignment. So he can take time off on that side, but just like I think the awareness is not there yet. Also, the Rockets, they don't play defense anyway. We're literally the worst defensive team.
I was gonna
on those,
say, yeah.
on those Kirk Goldberry charts, where they're like the efficiency charts. The
The
Rockets
beautiful like rainbows and then they're like a black dot in the
no,
corner.
literally for the last like month on those charts, he does a little dot that says the Rockets are so bad they're off the chart. They're like literally below
my
the chart. So
goodness.
the Rockets have not been on a Kirk Goldsberry chart in like 4 weeks. It's that bad.
Oh shit.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you hate that.
Hate to see it. Well, sorry about that for you, but it's gonna.
Yeah,
it can
sorry.
only go up. It can only
It can only
up
go
from
up.
here.
It can only go up.
The good thing about the NBA is sometimes you don't want it to go up right away.
Yes,
You know what I mean? You guys
I'd
have been
love
in
a
that
draft
spot.
pick. Give me Paolo Banchero.
You wanna who would you trade from this team right now?
How long do you have?
Who
DJ Augustine.
everybody?
Number one, DJ Augustine should not be playing valuable minutes on any basketball team, on any basketball court. Buy
Unless
your
it's
life,
2013.
DJ Augustine. Get out of here. I love Eric Gordon. He's a sweetheart, and I just generally love the way he plays. But like, the dude's injury prone, and the value couldn't be higher for him right
Just
now.
Old.
Goodbye, Eric Gordon.
Remember when he was the most automatic 3-point shooter in the
Mhm.
fucking league, and everyone was
What a
like, "He's the
time.
best role player ever." He was
a
I used
literal
to draft
bucket.
him all the time. When I did daily fantasy, I would draft him every day because he was so under like the price matchup. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
He's
KPJ gotta go. Christian Wood gotta go. The
You don't
list
like
can
Christian
keep going.
Wood?
I was gonna say at least keep Christian Wood. I thought that was the only person you were gonna keep.
I like him, but the value we can get back for him right now is better than I think the 26 points and 15 boards he gets every other night. And I don't like locker room distractions on my team. If you're gonna not play because you don't get minutes, not on my team. No, thank you. Yeah, everyone can go except Jayshawn Tate, Jaylen Green, Alpi Sengun, who's my indie rookie, and Gary Bird. fucking Garrison Matthews, most exciting white basketball player in the league right now.
I have another counter to that.
Yeah,
that will come later.
That's a whole ranking within itself, honestly.
Yeah.
How about Silas? Would you get rid of Silas?
Oh man, it's the issue of I love Silas as a person. Like I really genuinely think he's a good dude who really wants the best for his players and the franchise. And but yeah, you gotta go, man. I'm sorry, like you gotta go too. Get a coach who was willing to play rookies and willing to tank, even if everyone knows you're tanking. The GM's great. Raphael Stone's great. He's a revelation. But yeah, Silas, I love Silas. You know, I'd invite him over to many Christmas dinners or Thanksgiving dinners. Seems such a sweet guy. But yeah, he might have to go also. Clean house.
Jeez. Yeah, I just wipe it clean.
Really?
CEO,
Relieve
it's
him
CEO
of his
mentality.
misery.
You know,
He's had I mean, think about when he came in and James Harden was like, I'm gone. Poor Silas. He should just...
he dealt through like some of the toughest times as a coach, and it was his like first time as a head coach, and the media is just all on his ass about all these questions, and I'm like, this guy doesn't deserve it, but he also might not deserve to be the head coach of the Rockets.
Earl Watson
Oh.
vibes. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. But my first rookie is Franzia Wagner.
Franzia
A delicious German wine. I think he's the steal of the draft, and nobody is just saying that because rightfully nobody wants to watch a lot of Magic basketball, or maybe just doesn't have the opportunity to watch a lot of Magic basketball, which I think is fine, but I
don't blame
do
them
recommend
for that.
at this point just watch either the condensed games on League Pass, or just watch his highlights, because the thing is he's involved in like all the team's highlights. He is so bizarrely versatile, and I love his ability to like kind of explode on offense and take advantage of the looks he gets from his teammates. And he can also like run the pick and roll for you. And it's a sort of similar, not too different, like conversation that we're having with Cleveland, because when he does that, you're running into 7-foot Mo Bamba when you're trying to keep on him. So the screen opportunities there are great. Orlando is long. So yeah, just his height and his ability to take care of the ball just inherently helps every big man on that roster, like we were just talking about with the Cavs. What is weird about him, I guess this isn't weird, I just didn't expect this, is that they're putting the ball in his hands more than I expected, but what he's doing with it is giving it away. He's great when people assist him. He's great assisting.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna make my own shot, which is something I'd love to see from him. But if that's the last thing that comes, then that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
He's super exciting. Just watch the highlights. No one's gonna make you watch a full Orlando Magic game.
I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, when
That's
is the last time I've watched an Orlando Magic game?
I
or
watched some
sat through
highlights
one?
I watched some highlights last night. And I was like, they have both Wagners.
Yeah,
I was like, they have Franz
Mo's
and
there
Mo, which makes the Luka thing more funny. Where he's like, "Who the fuck is Wagner?" I definitely thought he was like confusing both of them together. But
Say
Franz
that
is
line,
actually like
please.
really pleasantly, surprisingly good at like. Besides Cade, might be the most polished offensive player in the draft. Like
yeah. Oh, 100%.
has every move. You know, like.
Well, he's another. I mean, granted, he did come over and he played for Michigan, right, Harry?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
He played for Michigan. So it's not like he's one of those European players who's like playing, pro immediately before, but he does have like all of those kind of chops that you expect someone who, I don't know, has played in basketball not in the US to have, just because the professional like age and starting time is a bit different and exacerbated. Did you know that his parents are named Axel and what's his mom's name?
Honestly, you could stop
Like
there.
Beely or something, like Beal.
She's like it's also Axel.
It's Axel.
They're both Axels. It's crazy.
Jeez. That is so intimidating. That's how you should walk into a room, just announcing his parents' names before he enters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Son of Axel and Axel.
I love that. I mean, just when you said being the most polished offensive, I think that is something that what we're talking about, either you have defensive focus or you have athleticism or you come in, like if this is his lane, especially for the Magic, and like you said, Haley, they're giving him that green light to kind of work through that any bumps in the road in his offensive game, I think that's only going to help him for years and years to come. Like he's going to be able to work out those kinks on this type of team right now.
Yeah, and they're giving him like 30 plus minutes a game, you know, like what you should do with rookies.
That's what exactly, and that's what I'm saying with, it's not like they're not giving Jaylen time. It's like, but give him the offense. You know, like give it to him. And that's exactly what Orlando is willing to do, which is funny and kind of sad because when I was watching him a couple days ago, my main thought was like, man, I wonder like who's going to get him when he gets out of here. So, sorry. Yeah. Harry says that the Wagner's mom's name is Beat. Is that Beat or Beate?
No idea.
Speaks German.
I was thinking Beatty.
Beatty.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Axel and
She'll,
Beatty.
her name was Beat.
She'll beat your ass. I'll tell you that.
Okay, we're going to take a break and then we'll get to the next rookie. Okay, we're back and it is Jordan's turn, right?
Yes, and we have to talk about Cade because not only number one overall, but exactly what you were saying, Sean, earlier. I think he's figured it out. Like he's figured out who he is. He came in knowing like I'm the number one pick. I want all the smoke. I'm a 6'8". I'm a point guard. I can do it all. And he's really showing that night in, night out. Now it's tough to be on the Pistons just in general. Like they lost. I looked up, they lost like 14 games in a row at one point. Just a real tough blow. But he is having that green light. He is being able to be the point guard. My only thing about him, he did struggle with turnovers, especially, well, he struggled with injuries like hobbling into the season. He had a preseason injury, but he struggled with turnovers, but it's kind of a mixed bag because one, the ball is in his hands at all times. So you're going to have a lot of turnovers just from that. But he was doing jump passes, which is my biggest pet peeve. So I was like punching the screen every time he was doing these freaking jump passes. But I think he just said in a press conference that the coaches have like drilled that out of him. So I think it's those little bumps. It's going to happen. But overall, his game is near complete. He's only going to get better from here. But he's exciting. He again makes you want to watch the Pistons. I think he makes a great matchup for some of the big guards that are in the league. And I really can't wait to see what's the next level for him. Once the Pistons get more pieces that he can get some help. I think it's too much for him as a rookie. He's just sitting on the bench sometimes looking so sad. But I think he's great. And he's living up to the hype from Summer League when Haley and I went there. Had so much hype around him. He's living up to it.
He's such an unassuming player, which is like a massive compliment. Like he moves at his own pace. He knows, like you said, his own style. He knows what he's good at. He knows what he's not good at.
Yep.
And he's just so calm. Like everything about his on-court demeanor is like, I've been here for a while. Like I know what I'm doing. And it's his first year and he's playing like, you know, a 5-year vet, you know, like to some degree. Like he's playing like he's been in the league and knows game speed for so many years. It's wild to see. Like I think he's without a doubt deserving of the number one pick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a super patient ball handler, like what you're saying. He is. He's just he's impressive. He's also taken his time, I guess, to like have his little debut officially, like you were alluding to, Jordan. Mm-hmm. it's funny because I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come. I'm not as hyped up as I am for him as some other people on this list, but I just think it's because he was the number one pick and because I'm just relieved a little bit that he's got to this stable place where people are accepting that he deserved that. Did you say that your biggest pet peeve was jump passes?
Yes.
That's so funny.
Hit me right in the chest because I'm like, oh, I do a lot of jump passes.
When you
know what
drive
mine
baseline, you drive baseline, you have nowhere to go. You're
Yeah.
in the air. You haven't made a decision. It's going to be a turnover.
Always.
Every
Lazy.
single time.
Yeah.
I'm also just triggered because I would get yelled at for jump passes so much. Being a small guard, driving down in the trees.
To.
Nowhere to go. You're falling out of bounds. It's just bad every single time. So it's my biggest pet peeve, hand down. Yeah. Especially
I love that that's the like what a credit to him that your one knock on him is so hyper specific. Like he's got to get rid of those jump passes, you know, and then everything else is like a green check mark, you know.
I know. I mean, hey, he's doing great. Gotta be nitpicky when it's the number one pick. So hey.
Sean, what's your basketball pet peeve? Your small basketball pet peeve.
Oh my God. I didn't realize it was a pet peeve until last night. Some kid, like to bring the ball up, would pass it to the roll it in front, like spin it back in front of him, and pass it to himself every play. And I was like, hey man, that's a double dribble. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, you have two hands on the ball, you're throwing it out, and then you're catching it again. I was like, that's literally double dribble. He's like, I've been doing this since ever. I was like, he said he's always been doing it. I was like, who are you playing with? That no one's called this. He also, like, his face went right into my elbow, and I think he had a concussion, so I'll give him that. But that I just realized that's a pet peeve. I'll show you this elbow bruise. Look at this. Look at this thing. It's getting there. That's the dude's skull.
Sean,
it was his fault. It was his fault. I made a joke. I was like, damn, I know that hurt because my elbow hurts. And then the people on my team were like, oh guys, Sean's elbow hurts. Well, this guy's like out for the count. It's like, yeah, I didn't mean it. I was like, I did not mean it like that.
Oh, wow. If you guys have never played pickup basketball with Sean Yoo, don't wear a helmet.
And earplugs, man. After the earplugs for after the game and halftime. Sean and I love, like, you name it, charades, games, etc. But we're both pretty unbearable to play with.
Sometimes I would like I'd rather just avoid situations like that. It's like Haley's like, oh, you want to play this thing?
When Wordle starts, we have not gone a day without sending each other the Wordle.
Oh, I didn't do it today yet.
That's okay. I haven't done it either.
Fun word.
I love that thing.
Yeah, it's really fun.
What's your basketball pet peeve?
Well, I have one. I also have when I was at the Grizzlies game, Grizzlies Bulls, and I took my mom, and we had these crazy good seats because, well, it's kind of a long story, but whatever. We got there and like, wait, what were we just talking about? Because I had a story that related to it.
Basketball pet peeves or
competition.
Not playing basketball with me. Wordle. Yeah.
Charades.
Jump passes.
No, the ball rolling. So it's like the third or fourth quarter, and John Morant is like taking the ball up technically, but he's not. He's like rolling it up, and he's like doing that thing where he walks behind it and is like pushing it along. Then he starts like dancing around it a little bit, and my mom is like, ha ha ha, like slapping her. She thinks it's the funniest shit she's ever seen, and it was because I was like, you're gonna go into this game not knowing that much about Ja. You're going to come out of it and you're going to buy a jersey. And sure enough, at the end of it, she was like, I love him so much. He also had that spin to the basket, that spin around layup.
The 360, that was sick.
Oh, it was so
amazing.
Good. Yeah, it was really fun. And that's also the game where Steven Adams picked up the bebe. The little bebe.
Picked him up like a baby.
Literally picked him up. In that moment, I was like, literally pick me up. Did I yell it? Ask my mom. My basketball pet peeve is the hustle dribble, like the recovery dribble under the basket. You don't really see this in the NBA as much because they've coached it out of them, but like Montrez used to do all the time in college. So you're like a big man, you're under the basket or almost under it, you need to fight for a little bit of room so you can bring it up. So instead of like just pivoting around and then putting it up, you will like do a big dribble. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I think people call it the hustle dribble. I actually don't really know what they call it, but it's like a very big, like, people call it the power dribble.
Yes.
And then after that, as if like somehow that makes it better, like it gets them out. Instead, they just crowd into you. It literally never works. So it's usually coached out of people when they're in the NBA, but that's my big pet peeve.
That's a good one. It's definitely a wasted dribble.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a waste. I mean, it's just a waste of time, positioning, because you're literally, when you dribble, you have to, your body has to go down a little bit. Your shoulders have to cave in a little bit. Just silly. Anyway, that doesn't really happen anymore. Yeah, still thinking about the Steven Adams thing. Whose turn is it?
I think
Sean's.
it's mine.
Yeah.
My second rookie, who I have a massive soft spot for, is Scottie Barnes. I love everything about Scottie Barnes. When he said, what was the thing? What was this? It was his meal, his like favorite meal. God, why don't I remember that? Scottie Barnes meal.
Beans. Milk or
beans.
something?
It was like beans. Like it was like the in arena thing, and it was like his favorite meal is just like beans. And I was like, this guy is eating beans, and he's skyrocketed back to being my favorite player. I know no one wants to hear about like someone else's fantasy teams at all, but I have a fantasy basketball league similar to my football league where we draft college players, and then once they're in the NBA, they come up and are like they're in our farm system and they come up. So I drafted Scottie Barnes when he was at FSU, and I was like something about this guy. I love him. Let me just draft him. And I share a team with my friend, and he was like, I don't know who the hell this guy is, but whatever. And then Scottie Barnes became who he is, and just like is getting all these minutes, is a legitimate one of the few 5-tool players in that rookie class where he does a lot of everything. And he could play any role. Like I feel like Scottie Barnes is like the best improv partner on the basketball court, because like if you need him to bring the ball up on a fast break, he could do that. If you need him to initiate the offense, he could do that. If you want him to be the primary scorer, he can do that. Role player, he could do that. Incredibly gifted NBA body, like he's like 6'8", 6'6", 6'8", like built like a truck, but has agile, quick feet, can do it all, has like a really impressive offensive game that I think people were not thinking he'd have that this early on. He's in a little bit of a slump right now, but I think he's coming back from an injury, and I just love that he's like in Toronto and in that type of organization that really, like, Nick Nurse was just on Old Man and 3 and talked about like his coaching philosophy of like, all we want to do is get you better so that you can, get to your next spot or whatever, like a very like smart NBA coaching philosophy, almost like college, of like, we just want you to be the best player you can be. Whatever you need to work on, we'll work on it. And I'm so glad he's there, because I really think he could be like a long-term, one of those like 20-year pros. Like, oddly, he doesn't have the athleticism of Vince Carter, but I weirdly like the game of like adapting to each team and adapting to his age and stuff. And I think Scottie could do that. And he's just a great personality. Like, he's funny on TikTok, has really good just goofiness to him, which I love.
I was distracted that entire time by your impersonation of your friend. Like, what do you do for my
What
voice
friend
when you
is
say
that?
something I was saying? Yeah, like, do I have the
It's
same?
my friend Anthony, super Italian.
That's your Italian impersonation?
No, it wasn't.
Who the
but
fuck
he
is
was
this guy? That's your Italian.
Sorry.
He's
about
angry.
All my impressions of people are just angry.
Yeah,
That tracks. Yeah.
I think that my favorite thing about Scottie Barnes is the easiest thing to like about him, which I think is the defense. When a rookie comes out and takes the hardest assignment, which he has, like so much of Tatum, he's been on Harden, he's been on KD.
And they were both like, damn,
Yeah.
this guy could play.
Yeah.
Well, there were a couple games where he guarded every single person. I know for sure Boston was one of them. I feel like Washington was another one because the announcers made a really big deal out of it. But he is yeah, as advertised, like extremely versatile. He has that very Raptors like prerequisite story of
He's such a Raptor, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was
my
I was coming
God.
off the bench and now I might be rookie of the year. Like that's extremely the Raptors don't want you unless you literally weren't playing basketball like 3 years ago. They're like, you don't qualify here. But yeah, I think that he is an excellent defender. Even when, like, let's talk about last night with Luka. He was kind of getting his ass whooped a little bit.
Yeah.
He was, yeah. I mean, I'm
Lit up.
like you said, he was in a little bit of a slump or whatever. I don't think I think with rookies we should have a different term, not a slump, but like a growing pain or something. When you guard someone like Luka, first of all, Luka's gonna get the fouls, right? And he did because he's Luka and because he's a superstar. Luka bitches a lot. Superstars just get calls. So he obviously suffered from that defending him. But there's still potential within what he did. But yeah, he was kind of destroying him. I thought the Mark Cuban thing was really annoying, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No.
Him do the 3.
No.
Mark Cuban like thought he had a different amount of fouls than he did Scottie, and so he went over to the scorers table and made them like replay it or something, or was talking to them, and then
the worst.
I
Just
hate.
because
And
you're
then
rich,
Fred,
you're not allowed to do that.
No, he thinks he's allowed to do
I know.
do
Literally
whatever he wants.
God, fuck rich people.
whatever he wants. And then Fred was like, "Hey, what are you doing? You need to get away." And he gave him the 3 fouls, as in Scottie had 3 fouls.
Boo, corny,
Yeah.
corny.
That is
tomato,
the
tomato.
worst. That's what you do at rec league games, not in the NBA.
100%. Like you
hell?
you are literally an AAU parent right now.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
God, I hate that.
Yeah, it's so
Which
annoying.
is the worst. That is not a compliment, Mark Cuban.
I will not
So
invest
annoying.
in that, Mark Cuban. I'll tell you that much. That product, I'm not investing in.
I'm
I think-
out, is what they say.
Yeah, I know.
I think Scottie Barnes is just on the perfect team. Not all teams, I just think of my Lakers, can develop rookies or young players at all. So I love that for him, and shout out to defense. I feel like we've talked about defense for
Shout out to defense.
all of these rookies, which is being taught again, which is wonderful. So yeah, I think he's a great player, and personality off the court definitely influences who I watch and who I love on the court. So yes, I'm all in for him.
He's such and not to like, lessen his on-court ability, but he's such a cute player. Like he's just such a cute guy. Like something about Scottie Barnes, everything on his off-court personality, on-court, I'm like, this guy's just a cute dude. Like really like just charming and so like youthful. I don't know, man. I'd let him date my daughter. Let's say that much. My
That you
daughter to
don't
be.
have.
Yeah. Not that I know.
Not yet, which is even creepier. Who was it that just said something like that? It's like, he can date my daughter when he's old enough. There's like a big internet thing, and I was like, that's weird, and then I deleted it from my brain. If you know what I'm talking about, feel free to tap in at any time.
I feel like I'll be in trouble if I do say it.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
I swear that was
Left
a
you hanging.
thing, but I don't know. I'll probably just have Harry delete that.
Leave it in.
The last thing I'll say about Scottie Barnes is it not also remarkable that the offense fits with both him, Pascal, and OG?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
that should not have fit as smoothly as it did.
Yeah.
They could all be like doing a similar thing. They could have had a big Sixers problem, and instead they have only a tiny Raptors problem, which is that they just need everyone to be a little bit better.
It's a good problem to have.
We went a lot longer on those guys than I thought, so either we can do a part 2, I can miss my dentist appointment, or we can run through the other ones in 3 minutes. So should we put it to a vote? Like, I don't.
Your call.
It's a lot of options. Yeah, your call, Haley. Whatever you want.
I'm around. I have time, so I have time any other day too. Don't put this on the pod, but I don't really work.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Got like 25 hours.
It's
to clock in.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays golf all the time. And Wordle.
Not all the
What should
time.
we
You can only
do?
do it once. Chill.
Takes you all day.
Yeah, but it takes him all
Fucking
day.
Chill. Yeah. Okay.
Harry, what do you think?
I think we do a part 2.
Okay.
I'd love to talk about the Lakers with you guys if possible, because I was on the Spaces last night and I had the time of my life. Truly the time of my life. Sorry, Jordan. I'm sorry, but
Okay,
the
let's do
the
part
fan
2.
base is crumbling.
No, absolutely.
Tell me about it. The Pacers.
Crumbling is the perfect word. Crumbling like fucking feta. You know what I mean?
No,
like just
literally,
it's
like,
gross. You can't
no
hold
foundation.
it in your
They're
hand.
brittle.
I was just staring at the window, just like contemplating life. Like, what do we
Yeah.
do? Where do we go from here? You should see the text between me and my dad. That's
Oh,
that's
God.
a
Drop it.
crumbling fan.
Drop the
right there.
screenshots. That's a crumbling. That's a broken man. Okay, guys. Well, I do have to. So let's do a part 2 then.
Yay! Well, that's our show. Please tell us which rookie is your favorite on our voicemail at 502-874-4453 or send us an email at spinsters@bluewirepods.com. Spinsters is hosted by me, Jordan Liggins, and Haley O'Shaughnessy. This episode was produced by Isabel Joycelyn, Harry Krinsky, Alex Ward, Ashley Zhao, and me. Our production coordinator is Devin Shepard, and our executive producers are Peter Moses, John Yells, and Haley.
Hey, Jordan and Haley. I love the show. This is Kevin from Boston. My rule change for the NBA is more about aesthetics. I watch the WNBA, and I love the two-tone ball, so you can kind of appreciate the spin on the ball. So I think the NBA should copy it and come up with a two-tone ball going forward. So that's my suggestion. Thanks.